You have to start and almost finish with Holy Cross when you talk about history of baseball in Worcester. Holy Cross was almost a minor league team of its own. It had so many good players and so many great seasons at Fitton Field. The 1952 Holy Cross Crusaders won the College World Series, coached by Jack Barry, who was one of the great college coaches of all time, and some people consider him to be the greatest college baseball coach of all time. Ted Williams had his first home run in a Red Sox uniform at Fitton Field. The Red Sox came down in 1939 and played an exhibition game there. That's how important Holy Cross was to the baseball landscape of New England. And Jesse Burkett, who was a Hall of Fame player as well, also coached Holy Cross at one point in time. And the Holy Cross imprint is on baseball throughout Worcester and always will be. Worcester had a team in the major leagues, in the National League, as a matter of fact, from 1880 to 1882. It was nicknamed the Worcesters, no fancy names back then. And it came about because of the work of a pitcher named J. Lee Richmond. Richmond pitched the first perfect game in baseball history in 1880 at the agricultural grounds, which is where Becker College is today. There's a monument there to celebrate that event. Richmond originally came to Worcester in 1879 for one of the city's minor league teams. And in his debut, his first game, he pitched against the Chicago White Stockings of the National League, an exhibition game, and he pitched a 7-inning no-hitter. That 1879 minor league team was so good that the National League bent its rules to allow Worcester to become a member in 1880. And that 1880 team was pretty good, finished fifth with a 40-43 record. But the next 2 years weren't good at all, 1881 and 1882. And by the end of the 1882 season, Worcester played its final game in front of 18 paying customers. It was not the end of the history of baseball, period. Worcester had minor league teams up through 1934, some very good ones. And some of the great players who have been here were on those minor league teams. Gabby Hartnett, a kid from Millville, was a catcher in 1921 as a professional rookie for the Eastern League team, and he went on to a Hall of Fame career mostly with the Chicago Cubs. John Clarkson actually pitched for the Major League team. He's in the Hall of Fame. He pitched a couple of games for Worcester in 1882 and was released. But he survived that very nicely and went on to a Hall of Fame career, was a guy who won more than 300 games. Burkett played and managed in Worcester for years and years, starting in 1906, and made the city his home. He was succeeded as manager by Sliding Billy Hamilton. Hamilton was a great player with the Philadelphia Phillies of the National League, set all sorts of base running records and base stealing records. He was buried in Lancaster after he died, and lived in Clinton for many years and in Worcester. Harry Stovey played for the Worcesters in 1880, 81, and 82. He held the home run record of 14 at one point in time. And of all the great 19th century players who are not in the Hall of Fame, Stovey is considered to be one who really deserves to be in there and maybe would be the first in line to get in if they decide to expand that category. In 1925, the city's last year in the Eastern League, it was managed by Casey Stengel, who also played center field. And after that, Stengel went on to a Hall of Fame career as a manager, mostly with the New York Yankees, where he won several pennants and many World Series and is one of the legendary figures in baseball history. Finally, not a player, but a writer was Ernest Del Thayer. And Thayer was a newspaper man who was born in Worcester and educated in Worcester and was working in San Francisco for one of the Hearst newspapers out there when he wrote Casey at the Bat, which is the definitive piece of literature about baseball. It's the world-renowned poem. Everyone understands what Casey at the Bat is and where it goes. And he supposedly wrote it about a Worcester guy named Daniel Casey, a friend of his. Unfortunately, there's no real record that Daniel Casey ever played baseball or ever struck out, but it was a great story. And it is the baseball story that's recognized around the world, and it originated with Worcester's Ernest Del Thayer. And finally, pro baseball will come full circle with the introduction of the Worcester Tornadoes, who will start play at Fitton Field at Holy Cross on May 28th. And the Tornadoes will be managed by Rich Gedman, who was a Worcester native who had a great career with the Boston Red Sox and was one of the finest catchers in Boston history. And the Tornadoes are going to play in the Canadian American League. And it'll be Worcester's first experience with the pros since 1934. So pro baseball has kind of come full circle with the Tornadoes at Fitton Field in Holy Cross.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back. So it's root for the home team.
If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2,
3 strikes you're out.
and the old ball.
with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
I don't care if I never get back.
It is root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame.
Or it's 1, 2,
3 strikes, you're out of the old ball game.
Take me out to the ball game.
Take me out to the crowd.
buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
I don't care if I ever get back.
We'll just root for the home team.
If they don't win, it's a shame.
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
At the